Hello and welcome to DROIX. In this video we will be unboxing and demonstrating the Anbernic RG351P retro gaming handheld. First up we have the RG351P, which we will show in more detail in a moment. We have a USB Type-C charge cable. You can use any USB such as a mobile phone charger or PC for example. It is also recommended using this cable as ones you may have may not be compatible. It plugs into the OTG DC USB port found on the right side when front facing. There's a quick start user guide which is in both Chinese and English. It has everything you need to get up and running. On the front there is a 3.5 inch IPS display at 480 by 320 resolution. There are dual analog controls, a D-pad, 4 gaming buttons and start and select. In the corner you can see the battery LED. On the left side you have the power button. On the right side you have the volume dial. On the top you have 2 sets of left and right shoulder buttons. There are 2 OTG ports, one of these is the charger port, and in the middle is the headphone socket. On the bottom you can see the grills for the 2 speakers, the micro SD card slot which comes with a 64 gig micro SD card, and there's the reset button. The back features the textured grips which was first seen in the RG350M. These make the device more secure to hold and more comfortable for gaming. The RG351P comes in 3 colours, so you have the black colour, purple colour and white. So it got me thinking, what colours are these inspired by? So obviously for the purple model it's the Gameboy Advance, you can't go wrong there. For the white model there's a few possibilities, but ended up going with the classic GP32. Now the black model got me thinking it could be the PSP or the Vita, but I decided on Gizmondo. And I thought, nah, probably not a good idea. Maybe the PC Engine GT, but that's too big. So I decided on the classic GP2X. Inside we have the Rockchip RK3326 Quad-core processor. This runs up to 1.5 GHz. It also has a Mali G31MP2 graphics processor. There's 1 gig of DDR3L RAM, that's plenty to run all the supported gaming systems. It comes with the 64 gig micro SD card which contains the operating system and games. You can of course upgrade to a larger card if you wish to. This model did originally have a Wi-Fi module built in, but due to an issue in the manufacturing this part is no longer included. You will however be able to use a compatible Wi-Fi dongle to regain the functionality of wireless data transfer and play multiplayer games. And finally the device runs on a Li-Polymer 3500 mAh rechargeable battery. This should last between 5 to 7 hours depending on the system you are playing. The boot process takes around 18 seconds, which is quite fast considering it is loading into the operating system and EmuElec. If you compare this to say the Raspberry Pi and RetroPie, this could take anything from 30 to 60 seconds plus, so yeah, it's a good speed for booting up. Once booted up into EmuElec, you are straight into the gaming systems menu. You can change the systems by pressing left and right with A to select and B to cancel. There are 22 gaming systems supported out of the box, including popular 8 and 16-bit games consoles such as the NES and PC Engine. The RG351P does improve on the 350 series with support for more recent consoles. These include N64, Dreamcast and PlayStation Portable. I mentioned out of the box, and you may not be aware that the RG351P actually supports many more systems. This is mainly thanks to RetroArch and its system cores. You can add games for a large variety of systems including Amstrad, Commodore Series, Neo Geo, CD, Spectrum and many more. Systems also have different emulator cores which may improve compatibility or performance. We will have a video showing how to add and change these, so don't forget to subscribe and you won't be able to miss it. Pressing the A button on a game system brings you to a list of installed games. You can press up and down, which will scroll through the list, and L2 and R2 will skip a page on the list. Pressing left and right will take you to the previous and next game systems, and pressing A will start the game and B will take you back to the main menu. Navigation is quick and easy with options to search and jump to starting letters, which is very handy if you have a large gaming collection. Pressing the select button will bring up the system menu, which allows you to restart the software, reboot or shut down the device fully. We recommend shutting down the device this way to prevent possible corruption to the micro SD card. Pressing the start button will take you to the main settings menu. From here you can change a vast number of settings. However, if you're not familiar with the software, I wouldn't recommend changing any important settings. You can, however, change between themes, so if you do have a Wi-Fi dongle, you can set up a wireless connection from here and like download new themes, for example. There's an option to scrape newly added games via Wi-Fi. Scraping will connect to the internet and download information for your games collection. This information includes the game description, year of release and the genre, and a screenshot of the game. This information is displayed on the game list and varies depending on the theme. While it's not essential to scrape your games in order to play them, it does look a lot better. There's also an option to download and update any future firmware updates if and when they are available. Generally the manufacturers do not release many official firmware updates, but I would expect custom firmware to support this in the future. And if you don't have Wi-Fi, you should be able to update via the micro SD card, no problem. By pressing the left and right analog sticks at the same time whilst playing a game, you can access the RetroArch menu. The RG351P uses RetroArch as the main emulation platform, so you may be familiar with this from like using RetroPie, for example. There are a couple of other separate emulators such as the PSP Emulator, PPSSPP. From the quick menu you can perform functions such as saving and loading game states. This allows you to save the game at any time, even if the game did not originally support it. Simply save the state and you can load this at any time to resume exactly where you left off. Sonic the Hedgehog is a nice fast game to show off the speed of the emulator. As you would expect, just about every game works great on the Megadrive, and you can also load Sega CD games and play those just fine. The vast majority of Super Nintendo games run great, however some that use additional processing chips such as the SFX chips on Star Fox may have some issues. You may hear the audio being scratchy where it's not running at 100%. PC Engine Emulation is great. As expected, there's no issues with games slowing down. Pretty much everything I tried worked great. Capcom Play System 1 has a great variety of games and they all run perfect. I was not expecting any issues and didn't find any while trying the games. Capcom Play System 2 works equally as great as the first, again running all the games at very good speed with no noticeable slowdowns. While there are not many games for the CPS III system, they do work just fine with no noticeable slowdowns in busy fighting scenes, for example. Moving up a gear to the Game Boy Advance, I tried a variety of games and did not notice any issues with slowdowns. Game Boy Advance looks great on this screen and feels just like playing the original handheld. A newcomer to the RG series is Nintendo 64 Emulation. Overall, Nintendo 64 works pretty well. Depending on the game you're playing, you may experience some occasional hiccups whilst playing. For example, on F-Zero it may stutter now and again. It's also worth bearing in mind that some games do show graphics errors, which are common in some Nintendo 64 emulators, but overall the games run well on the RG351P. PlayStation was supported in the RG350 series, but it did only run a handful of games very well. The 351P definitely improves on PlayStation emulation and has many more games that are playable. If you have been holding out to buy a RG series for PlayStation, now is definitely the time. PlayStation Portable is another new addition found in the 351P. Like the Dreamcast, it will definitely depend on the game you're playing, whether or not it will be playable or not. Castlevania overall plays very well, but if you play something like Grand Theft Auto, then expect to experience higher frame skipping, making it not very enjoyable to play. A good tip is to change the rendering resolution in the emulator settings. If you change this from 2x to 1, this will help improve the frame rate. Overall, I am impressed with the RG351P. The increase in performance over the RG350 series means that some of the newer gaming systems such as the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 are much more enjoyable and playable on this, and with the introduction of Nintendo DS with many games playable, it's a good reason to upgrade. If you are looking for PSP emulation, then maybe this is not the handheld for you just yet. The RG351P itself feels very comfortable to hold over long periods of time, and having the D-pad at the top is great for the vast majority of retro games. The speaker quality is very good with clear stereo on supported games, and it's not overbearing at full volume unlike previous systems. If you have been waiting for the newer CPU based gaming handhelds, then the RG351P is a very good option. If you already have one of the older RG series devices and you want to play more recent systems, then the jump in performance is pretty good and definitely worth considering. We will have a RG350 and 351P comparison video up soon, so don't miss out on that. We hope you have enjoyed our unboxing and demonstration of the Anbernic RG351P. You can find out more information and buy yours today by clicking on the product link or in the description below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we hope to see you in our next video.